I don't know what I'm doing here. I haven't done this before, and I don't know if this is the way we should do it or how we should do it. Often people would come seek me for decisions or guidance, and I'm like, why is everybody asking me? Like, what do I know? I don't know any more than anybody else. And for a while, I would tell people, like, I'm just making shit up as we go. Like, I don't really know. And one of these days, you guys are all going to figure out that you're following the blind guy, you know.
I don't wait for nobody. I'ma sign my name on the dotty. City lights call my name, drawn to the flame, and I'm feeling kinda naughty. I hit the ground running, step out the door.
Cool. How are you doing, Mike?
Doing very well. How are you?
Really good.
Good.
So yeah, we're a lot of setup right now, but we're finally on. And let me just tell you, as I did before, like, really my pleasure to be here with you.
Mine too. Thank you for inviting me to be here.
Yeah. So we haven't seen each other in like almost 1 year, I think, right?
Yeah, if not longer. But yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. First of all, because I don't know you that well, but I know some things. But could you introduce yourself real quick?
Yes. So my name is Mike Ogden. I am American. I moved to Switzerland 5 years ago. Started acting 2 years ago. I have a full-time job, not acting, which keeps me very busy. But I really fell in love with acting 2 years ago, and that's how we met. So through that process.
That's how we met. And funny enough, the film where we met each other is called Have We Met Before?
Yes. Yes, that was a fun shoot.
It was really good. It was like, it was interesting because like I wrote the screenplay with, Flavio, the director.
Yep.
And I wasn't, that was your, like, first of all, like, that was your third or fourth short film.
I think it was the third, but it was the second, like, lead role.
Yeah.
So second lead role. I had done the first lead role, then a supporting role, and then that one, I think.
That is Indifferent and the second coming, right?
Correct. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So that was the fourth one. Yes, you're exactly right.
Because I just think it's so crazy, so exciting, like that. And like just to, like, in my head, because we don't know each other that well, but you started acting last year. No, 2 years ago, you said?
2 years ago, yeah.
And last year, correct me if I'm wrong, you did like 4 short films?
Yeah, and then I've done 2 more or 1 more since then. Yeah, I think it's 5 in total. I'm auditioning for a 6th one now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what I wanted to start this off is a nuclear family.
Yeah.
So first of all, just for the people that are listening and watching, A Nuclear Family is a short film that came out last year, and it is starring you and Elena Fleury in the lead roles.
Yes.
And it was crazy. Like, I was attending the premiere, right? We've met. That's right. That was the last time we've met at the Zurich School of Arts.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, because I've seen you before in in our short film shoot, like, where I was not directing, but the screenplay, and I was also like, I met you there, and then I saw A Nuclear Family at this premiere, and it was crazy. Like, and I think it's a huge thing because, like, now, just for the people listening and watching, like, it is on YouTube on Omeletto, right?
Yep.
And it has 96,000 views, over 96,000.
We're almost at 100,000. We need to have a 100,000 party soon.
Yeah, like this is crazy.
It's very cool. It's very cool. I was super lucky to be part of that project. Super lucky. More lucky than you can guess.
Yeah, and it's directed by Nevin George, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Can you tell me more about how did you get in, like, to this project? Everything, just the story.
It's a kind of a crazy story. So I was on a business trip in the United States, in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I received this weird email, completely random, saying, seeking lead actor for short film. And I read the emails like, hey, we're looking for an actor for this lead film. And if you're interested, read the script and tell us what you think. Of course, at that point, I was not an actor. I was not trying to be an actor. I was not trained to be an actor. I have had zero experience in that field at all, or even contact with that field.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why in the world would somebody ask me this? This can't be real. So I was convinced that the attached script was a virus, and there's no way I'm opening that thing up, But there were some details in the email that kind of caught my attention, and I thought, man, maybe, what if this is legit? That would be super weird. So I finally said, you know what? I'm going to call the guy, and the second he asked me for money, I'm out,
Yeah.
But I'll see what's going on. And it was Nevin, and I talked to Nevin, and it turned out it was legit. And he said, yeah, we have this short film, My Nuclear Family. We're filming it at the sound stage. We have the sound stage reserved. We have the crew there. We have the actress. She's flying in from London. Everything is ready. But our lead actor quit like 3 days ago, and we're looking for somebody. And said they checked the casting companies around Switzerland and had a short list of male actors in my age range who speak American English without like a European accent. So the pool of actors was pretty low, apparently small. And then that combined with looking for a certain appearance or certain look for that role didn't leave a lot of options, apparently. And so then they asked the crew, does anybody know anybody who might be interested? And apparently it was, I think it was the lighting person, her roommate friend had hosted a intro to improv course that I had took. So he gave her my email, and that's how they found me. So I said, okay, Nevin, well, first of all, the project's like, I would be interested. You have to know I'm not an actor, but I think at this point in my life, I think I would probably can do it. I think I can do it, but I never tried, so I don't know. I could be wrong. I could freeze. I don't know. But I would love to try. Yeah. And he's like, okay, so what do you think of the script? I said, yeah, I didn't open that thing. I thought it was a virus. Like, I haven't even read the script, you know? But he's like, well, read the script and see what you think and get back to me. And I'm like, well, I can't imagine what could be in the script that would make me not want to unless it's like a porn or something. But, but okay, I'll read it. So I read it and got back to him. It was a super interesting story, very kind of mind, game and kind of complicated story and complicated character. So that also intimidated me a little bit because I thought, boy, I don't know. I mean, for my first ever attempt to act, this character is complicated. But hey, I mean, if they're desperate enough to give me a chance, I'll do my absolute best to do that. And he said, okay. I said, look, I'm interested. I would love to do it. But again, I don't know if I can do it. He said, do some audition tapes for me, and we'll decide if we offer you the part. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. It should be fine. Then I realized I have no idea how to make self-audition tapes, right? I thought it would be easy, but then I realized, wait a second, who am I going to, I don't have anybody to act with, first of all. Second of all, okay, I can record with my phone or my computer, I guess, but where am I going to do it? Because I'm in Cincinnati, I'm staying at my mom's house. I'm working from 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. I'm having dinner with friends. The only time I have to even work on this thing is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And then I have to sleep a little bit and get up and repeat, So I had very little time to try to internalize the character, memorize lines. I also realized I didn't know how to memorize lines. I don't have a technique for memorizing lines, so I'm just repeating it a lot, hoping that it sinks in, And then when I did try to record, my mom's upstairs sleeping. I don't want to wake her up, I don't want to disturb her. So I'm trying to act dramatic, but I can't speak loudly. I can't scream. So I'm like, and it just doesn't come across well at all. It's horrible, I'm like, this is crap. I can't use this. And then also, I hadn't thought about asking the director to kind of explain the character. So I was trying it 3 or 4 different ways. As I started internalizing the character, you realize, well, man, I could do him like this or like that. And I wonder which way he wants to do it. But it's 10 o'clock at night and it's 4 o'clock in Switzerland and there's no way he's going to, I'll just do it like this and then I'll do it like that and I'll do it like that and see. So very complicated. And I finally sent him all the videos. I think I sent him 3 videos. And he called me the next day and he's like, okay, we want to offer you the part. And I said, are you serious? Yeah. And I was like, okay. And I was getting pretty excited at this point. However, I had meetings that week, and I was supposed to fly home Saturday or landing on Sunday. They wanted to film on Saturday and Sunday. So if I was going to do this, I needed to cancel meetings on Friday or reorganize things, change my flight. How much is that going to cost? Can I even get a flight back? You know, I got to learn all these lines. When am I going to have time to learn the lines? Can I even do this? I might make a complete fool of myself. Am I just getting over excited about this opportunity? And I really thought, I mean, it's a college film. I mean, I thought of it, it's a college film. Come on, college films were like, at least when I was in school, college films were bad, you know, bad acting, bad editing, bad everything. And I'm like, I'm just getting overexcited about some opportunities. I think it would be awesome, but maybe I should just cancel this whole thing. They'll find somebody else, I guess, you know. And I asked my wife, and I'm like, man, I really got to upturn so much stuff to make this happen. Am I just getting, it's just ridiculous. Am I just being silly? Should I just forget this? You know, she's like, are you nuts? If I had the opportunity to do this, I would do anything possible to make it happen, you know? And I was like, you know, you're right. It's a pretty cool opportunity, and I would love to do it. And even if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. It would be, but the opportunity to do it, I'll do it. So yeah, so she supported me. She convinced me, and which is super important that, because she could have easily said, like, you can't act. What are you kidding yourself, you know? But she didn't. She was like, you can do it. Oh, you can do it. You're going to be great. Absolutely, you should do it. And I was like, okay. I mean, yeah. And then I got even more excited because I really decided to do it. So I canceled my meetings. I scheduled my flights, told them I took the job, and continued trying to learn the lines. And in the few hours I had each day to study, I was researching the character. I was looking up people with that name and that time zone to try to think about, like, I don't have a method. I wasn't trained on how to, like, internalize a character, so I was trying to make stuff up as I went, you know?
Yeah.
Then the day of the flight came, so I needed to fly from Cincinnati to Zurich. I needed to learn those lines, so instead of sleeping like I normally would, I stayed awake on the flight, trying to, and I just recorded it on my phone and was playing it back the whole time over and over and over again, hoping it would seep in to learn the lines. And so, of course, I landed here completely jet lagged, completely dead, nervous, super huge imposter syndrome, convinced everybody was going to realize didn't know what I was doing. And, but yeah, I met Nevin, I met Elena, we did some walkthrough of the soundstage, and then, that night I rehearsed again. The next day we filmed. So we filmed for 2 days. I was there like 6 or 7 in the morning for makeup and sound and everything else. And it was such a bewildering experience to do something like that. It was amazing. So yeah, that's how that happened.
How many people were on the set? Because it's like it's the Zurich School of Arts, and
yes,
basically got it all there. That's
yeah. And I don't know. I would say maybe 20 people or so, maybe between 10 and maybe 15 to 20, 25, something like that. I don't know. You know, there's a lot of people there doing all the little everything. So, but yeah, it was quite an experience.
Yeah, because now that you like, it's so crazy when I hear you like say this now, like. But I cannot imagine like how it must have been for you in, like, for example, on this flight. Like, was it really like everything was like, I can only imagine, you know, like, because now you can reflect on that, but in this moment it was probably like really a few stressful days.
It was very, very stressful and exhausting, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I was completely out of my element, but I consider myself somewhat of an adventurous guy. I'd like to take things on and try to push myself to grow and in different ways. And I've always pursued some kind of creative outlet. And once I had been here in Switzerland, I was struggling to find, like, what would I do for my creative outlet? And that's why improv was one of the things that my wife suggested, and she was into it big time. So that kind of got me into it. But yeah, I was pretty nervous.
Yeah. Wow.
And I was literally sitting in the room with Elena, like, how do you learn lines? You know, she's like, oh, I use this app and here's how I do it. And I'm like, now, how do you, like, because I've been thinking about, memorize them. And then how do you like internalize them? And she's like, oh, I have this, because she had this book with the lines. And then she had like these 4 columns where like there was the line and she could say, what's the emotion I want to have? What's the emotion I want to have my partner to have? Like this whole process and method of like decomposing the thing. And it's like, that seems like a pretty good idea. I wish I knew about that.
Yeah.
Because I had realized I need something like that, but I didn't have a proper like method. So I was doing something similar, not exactly the same, but I had started kind of naturally to try to think about, well, what would my character be thinking about between the lines when she says this? And I was trying to write internal dialogue for myself so that I had something to think about. And that's basically what she was also doing, but I wasn't thinking about it so clearly as she was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so interesting, like how did it have an impact on would you say you have a method now? Or would you say it had a real impact to develop like a new method, to memorize lines and acting in general,
It's definitely evolved, yes. Because now I have the app that Elena recommended. So I now, and that app's fantastic for me to learning lines. And what I like to do now is I like to get the lines into memory as soon as I can. And I like to rehearse them. I like to get it in my subconscious, so I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And I can, once it's in there, it comes out different ways, and you start to and then sometimes you just moving the emphasis from this word to that word to that word. Every word, if you move the emphasis from one to the next, it has a completely different meaning.
Yeah.
So I start, I'll go on walks with my wife or all by myself, like 1 hour, 3 hour walks, and I'll listen to it over and over or rehearse it myself and think, if I said this sentence with the accent here or there, here's how it sounds and which way do I think it should sound and why, and really kind of decompose almost every single sentence.
Yeah.
And again, once I decide which way I think it makes sense for it to be, and I'll confirm with the director if I have any questions, but once I can internalize that, then again, I kind of gets locked into my subconscious, and then when the time comes to do the performance, I don't even have to really think about it.
Yeah.
It's just natural. And you can take the direction that you get and adjust it here and there if it's not exactly what they want, or if they want a little bit more of that or a little bit less, whatever. So, yeah.
Wow.
So it works out pretty well. I really love it.
That sounds really like dedication. I mean, if you said like you would kind of record those lines and then listen to it again and everything.
Yeah, it has this app lets you record them, and then you can turn off, like you can record the other part, and then it'll play it at a higher pitch, so it sounds like a woman or something, or a lower pitch if you have the third character, and then I can turn off my lines. So now once I think I have the lines, it'll only play theirs, and it leaves a gap, so I can like fill in and make sure I've got it, and it's super helpful to learn lines. So once I had that, it was like, oh my God, this is great, and I can do it on a walk, I can do it on a plane, I can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, that has been a huge help to learn lines. Yeah.
And that was your first short film ever?
Yes. First anything.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I did like plays and musicals and stuff in high school.
Yeah.
But I was too immature at that time to take it seriously. And I never dreamed of being an actor or anything. So I never took it seriously. It was fun, but this was the first time I really wanted to actually do my best to portray a different character and really try to prove to myself that I could do that, that I had obtained kind of an emotional maturity level, that I could play this other part without being like feeling silly, because if I was a teenager, I would have felt silly acting like trying to be another person.
Yeah.
I was just not mature enough. But at this point in my life, I've lived a lot of life and learned to kind of gain control of my emotions.
Yeah.
So I thought I probably could do it and not find it silly. And it worked out. I actually discovered that I had it within me to do that better than I thought. So I was very pleased with that. I never froze there. I did have a huge imposter syndrome. I was convinced everybody was like, this guy is a freaking, where do we find this guy? My God, I hope he's paying us, to be here. But no, at the end of the 2 days on that first filming, we were going out to get some beers, to celebrate the end of the filming. And the crew started asking me, so yeah, how long you been acting? And it's been almost 2 days, They were like, what?
I had the exact same thought, to be honest. I was like, no way. because like when I say it was a blast to see this movie, like I mean that it was like this, like whoever watches this movie, like you should, like this whole build up, in the story with this, something is wrong, and like your character, you're playing a door-to-door guy. Yep. Which is visiting a house where a woman lives with her family, but she's not there. To summarize the plot now, this woman is basically like the family is not in the house right now, and
she pretends like
it's
like a mystery. It's a mystery, and you don't. This guy approaches, and this part of what made the role so difficult, because first of all, the character is already damaged from his past, so he's got baggage, and then he is posing as somebody that he's not, and he's not very good at it. So he should be portrayed in a way that makes you distrust him. And I thought it's ironic. I thought, this part might be perfect for me, because he should be a bad actor. And I might be I probably could be a bad actor. I don't know. Cause maybe I shouldn't practice too hard, because he's trying to be somebody he's not. He doesn't really have a plan. He didn't have time to think and make a plan before arriving at this house. So he's kind of concocting a plan as he got there. So as you watch the opening scenes, the acting is a little bit off, and it feels a little bit uncomfortable. And you might think, man, this dude can't act for shit, And I was nervous that it either, how do you get to just that right balancing point where it kind of looks like he's trustworthy but not trustworthy, but he's like, who is this guy? I don't really believe him, Yeah. And so that was the challenge of the opening part. And then once a certain point comes, he kind of realizes the game's up. There's no hope of this act isn't working, and it ain't gonna work, because he realizes just how sick she is. And so he has to take a different approach to try to save her. Yeah. That's ultimately, he's there to try to save her life. Yeah. And in a way that protects her mental health, because she's already mentally sick, and they don't want to hurt her more. So he's there to try to get her out under false pretenses, but it's all good intentions. Yeah. And then when it doesn't work, and he has a time limit, he ends up having to, and you find out that they actually know each other, and he's there to, it becomes a story of redemption at the end, because he failed her husband, and he wants to do something for him, and this is his chance to do something for his buddy that he lost in the war that saved his life, and he can try to save her, and he wants to win. He wants to succeed. Yeah. So it's a pretty difficult story, but it's a lot's going on in 15 minutes.
That was the thing that impressed me so much. Like, it was not just the tension build up. It was how can I say this? It was the darkness of this whole story. Like, it's really dark,
it's pretty dark.
And it goes to into, as you said, mental health of hers. And when you realize at the end of the movie, like, oh shit. Yeah. And it's kind of a really cool approach to the mental health topic, but in this whole setting. And the setting was like, it was so authentic, you wouldn't have known that you shot it like in a studio, right?
Yeah. I think Nevin designed and built that thing himself, and he did a superb job.
It's crazy.
But he has such a amazing attention to detail. Yeah. And the way he built that set, the script, the direction he gave me, and he knew I was new at this thing, and he was super patient with me. And, I wanted to hear praise. I'm like, oh, that was great. He never said that, which made me nervous. Like, oh no, I hope I'm doing well. Yeah. And I'm like, is that okay? Is that good? He's like, I think it'll work. I'm like, oh man.
Already
over. Oh God, I hope he's not just saying that to be nice. And, but I think he was so in his head, and being so critical, really trying to construct the film in his head as we went, and really making 1,000 decisions every minute, you know. But yeah, at the end of the day, I trusted him because I could tell he was being hypercritical and really had a vision. And I knew if he wasn't getting what he needed, he would tell me, you know. And so it became a very trusting relationship very fast. And then the time came to wait to see, you know.
Yeah, how long was the time spent between the shoot and the release?
It was over a year.
Over a year?
It was almost a year exactly, actually. I think it was just over a year, yeah. And I realized on the second day was my birthday. It was April 24th. And I forgot it was my birthday. I was so wrapped up in this whole filming thing that I was sitting there on set on the second day of filming, and I'm like, oh man, it's my birthday today. Oh my God, what the coolest way ever to spend a birthday, first of all. So when they did the premiere, they gave me a birthday cake because I missed my birthday that year. So that was super nice of them.
Wow.
Very thoughtful. Yeah. But yeah, so that year, you know, I had this amazing experience. I had no idea how long post-production would take. I mean, I've never been through anything like this before. I never would have guessed it took a year. But yeah, he's like, yeah, we're editing it. Yeah, we have the final edit now. Okay, now we're coloring it. Now we're doing the music. Now we're doing the scoring. Now we're doing the last coloring. And I'm like, oh my God, wow, what a process.
Oh yeah.
But I also know, I think he really, again, wanted it to be of the top-notch quality, and it takes work to get there, and they did the work. And I think, I'm very, very proud to be part of that project, very grateful to Nevin and Elena for giving me the opportunity, working with me and helping me be part of it. And I think we produced a pretty good film. I'm pretty proud of it. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
And you mentioned imposter syndrome before. Is it something that played a role in your life in other areas, or is it mainly like the acting because you were new, or do you still feel like this?
It's been a theme of mine in my career, actually, because in my job, so I work for Procter & Gamble, and in the baby care and feminine care division. So we make Pampers, diapers, and Always panty liners and Tampax and adult diapers. Yeah. I'm in those divisions. And I lead the digital innovation for R&D in P&G. And in this job, when I joined P&G, I was brought into a team to build technical capability that had never been built before. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I haven't done this before, and I don't know if this is the way we should do it or how we should do it, but I don't have any better guess, and nobody else does either, so I just did it, you know? And then I learned that's called leadership. Like, oh, you mean just making it up as you go, but having the confidence and doing your best, and then when it works, you just keep going. But often people would come seek me for decisions or guidance, and I'm like, why is everybody asking me? Like, what do I know? I don't know any more than anybody else. And for a while, I would tell people, like, I'm just making this shit up as we go. Like, I don't really know. And one of these days, you guys are all going to figure out that you're following the blind guy, you know. Yeah. But it never happened. The shoe never fell. I've had that imposter syndrome for a long time. I would say maybe 10 years, 15 years. I've been with P&G for 25 years now. And at some point, I accepted it and realized this is what I'm going to be doing. This is what I do. And while at first it felt like an imposter syndrome, I realized if you're the only one in the world doing that and nobody else, you aren't the imposter. You're the one doing it. Yeah. So you're not imposing it. You know, so once I kind of realized that, I accepted it and decided, like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it right. And instead of being an imposter, I'm going to be a leader and do my best to lead us to lead big transformations within the company. And that's what I've been doing for 25 years, and it's been a blast.
Yeah.
So yes.
And is it right that you have your initial education is electric engineering?
Yeah.
Cool.
Good memory.
And
yes.
You did that in Boston.
No, I studied in Cincinnati, Ohio, or actually in Dayton, Ohio, at Wright State University. Yeah.
And you came here 5 years ago.
Yes.
In 2018.
Yes.
Crazy.
Correct.
It must have been like a cultural shock, right? Or what's the difference between your life in in the United States and here in Switzerland?
It was a cultural shock. I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. I lived in New Hampshire for 6 years. My ex-wife, she was doing her postdoctorate there at Dartmouth College. And then she got her faculty position at St. Jude Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. So we moved to Memphis. Yeah. And I was there for 10 years. So that was already 2 culture shocks, because from Cincinnati to New Hampshire was a big change.
Yeah.
And then from the north to the south is a big cultural change.
Yeah.
Apparently, I've adopted some of the Northeast accent into my language, which I didn't notice. And then I think the Southern kind of sneaked in and overwrote that.
Yeah.
So I think I happened to have a little bit of that. And then, then I got remarried, and my wife is German. She had a job in Zurich. We didn't know where we were going to live. She's like, well, I got a job offer in Zurich. How about Switzerland?
Yeah.
I had been visiting Switzerland for 10 years up to that point. Like every year, once or twice a year, I'd come to Switzerland, to Zurich specifically, and I loved this city. I always loved Zurich. In fact, it was the first city I'd ever traveled to and I travel a lot, but it was the first one where I was going back to the States, and I felt homesick for Zurich.
Yeah.
Like before I moved here, that was just business trips. I was like, man, I can't wait to go back to Zurich. I'm like, that's weird. I'm homesick for not home. Like this, I've never had that happen before. So I already knew I loved the city. So when the opportunity came to move here, I jumped on it. It's like, absolutely, let's do it. I'm packing my bags. Let's go. Right. That was another story, because it was not only was there the culture shock, I had just gotten remarried. So my new wife, we were getting to know each other, and we came to Switzerland. I didn't know, like I asked P&G, I'm going to move to Switzerland. I've been location free. I've been in New Hampshire. I've been in Memphis for like 16 years. So I'm like, okay, I'm in location here or there. Why not Switzerland? It's like basically the same thing. I'll just go work from there. So, I requested to work from there, but these things aren't fast, So P&G, I got requested it in February. Come May, I had no answer at all. But I'm like, just remarried. I'm newly married. I want to be with my wife, so I'm in Switzerland as much as I can be. We actually registered an address. They asked me for my employment information, and I give that to P&G, and P&G is like, why in the world is Switzerland asking you for your employment information? That would suggest that you live there. I'm like, well, you can't just move there. Like, there's it's a process you have to follow. Like, no. I'm like, well, I asked you in February. It's May. I haven't heard yes. I haven't heard no. So, like, fire me or tell me yes, or, decide something.
Yeah.
But we're working on it. You got to go back. I was like, oh my God. So that created some stress. We were trying to find a place to live. That was some stress, because we were in an Airbnb at the time for like 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
We ended up buying an apartment. My wife's job that she had was horrible, so she quit it. So at that point, we had bought an expensive apartment in Switzerland. Neither I had a job here, nor she had a job here, but we had this apartment.
Yeah.
So we were like, are we even going to be able to stay here with the apartment that we bought? Maybe we should have thought this through a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so we were both super stressed out. And of course, that made it harder for us to get to know each other. And then COVID hit, so it was, and so we were trapped in this house, and we both expected to have our own lives, and that didn't happen. So we were doing everything together, which was ultimately a good thing, but extremely stressful 9 months, because I didn't hear from P&G until November that year. So it was like 9 months not knowing if I was going to have a job in Switzerland, if I should look for a new job, if she was going to get a new job. And, finding jobs in Switzerland is not easy. You apply, reject. It's hard you got to be careful not to get depressed and feel bad about yourself. It's super tough. So she was dealing with that. I was trying to look for jobs because I didn't know if I would need a backup plan. So it was a nasty, nasty 9 months. But we survived it. COVID hit. I got my job in Switzerland. She got a job that she liked. We had our apartment. We started settling down, and then things got better. And then I've absolutely loved being here. We love Switzerland. So we decided we want to stay. And I just signed last week I just signed my contract at P&G. My job moves to Geneva. So now I'm permanently located in Geneva, or at least my job is.
Wow.
As of July 1st. So I'm excited about that.
Geneva's beautiful. I've actually been there in the military for 3 weeks, just across the airport in Geneva.
Nice.
Yeah, it's wow.
It's a nice town.
Yeah.
Although I'm our foundation, like we're based in Zurich now, in Baden. We have our friends there. I'm getting more and more with the films in the area, and so we're not planning to relocate to Geneva. We're staying in Baden as our base place, and then I'll just go to Geneva 3 days a week for my work or whatever I need to do when I am in Switzerland. So that's our plan.
That's so cool. Like, congrats for
Thanks.
the signing. Now that you have the official contract.
Yeah.
Wait, have you been waiting now for like 3 years to sign that, or what?
No, it was I was on an expat assignment, which meant they approved the expat assignment for 2 years, I think, at first, then for 1 year, then for another 2 years.
Yeah.
But Switzerland has a 5-year limit on expats. Once you're 5 years in a row, it's no longer considered temporary, so you need a local job. So I knew that those 5 years were coming, and I knew I wanted to stay.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, I told P&G, look, I want to stay in Switzerland. And I'm staying whether you give me a job or not. I really, really, really hope you do, because I love this company. I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
So I hope we can find a way to work it out. But again, these things are not easy. I'm asking to create a new role in Switzerland. So it's like, why? We're a very successful business. We haven't had this role for 150 years. Why do we need it now? Why do you need it in Geneva? Why? Why? So it takes a lot of convincing and conversation and a lot of support from people within P&G who have your back. And it took 3 years, and they finally decided, for a variety of reasons, that it was the right way to go. So approved for me to do that. So it's been a long time coming.
Nice. I wanted to ask you what did, like, a nuclear family was your first role.
Yep.
What kind of impact did it have on your life as an actor? On the roles that came afterwards, and what's the plan for now on?
I mean, it started my life as an actor, so that's the first thing. It'll always be that first thing. It's a thing where I fell in love with this process of acting. And I remember at the end of those 2 days, I mean, it's a very demanding 2 days of shooting.
Yeah.
And it was an emotional part. So I was emotionally exhausted, especially at the end of the second day, because we were filming the emotional scene. And how you have to do it like 8 times. So really getting yourself to that emotional place over and over and over again. By the end of the day, it was a different kind of exhaustion than I normally experience. I work very hard and travel a lot and jet lagged a lot, but it was just a very different kind of feeling. And I really loved it. And the crew was asking me, like, hey, once they found out this is my first time I ever did anything like this, saying, oh, you should do this more. I'm like, yeah, like how? I don't know even what to call it. Is it a job? Is it a role? Is it a part? Do I search for I don't even know what to look for.
Yeah.
I don't have an agent. Do people have agents around here? Like, I don't know. Is that how it works? Like, I have no idea about this world, So, but I'd love to. So they gave me some tips, like, oh, here's some apps, some websites you can look at, and people post projects here and there. So, so the feedback from the crew and the cast that I got encouraged me tremendously, because at the end of 2 days, you realize I had this imposter thing. I had no idea if it was good or bad, or everybody's just being nice to me, being friendly. But when they were really encouraging me to proceed, I thought, okay, it must not have been that bad, I guess. So that's good. Of course, I wouldn't know until I see it myself a year later, but that's a long time. So, but I thought, I really loved it. And based on their feedback, I'm going to assume that it was good enough, and I'll keep going. So I'll try some more. And started looking at the student films, .ch, and applying for parts, and started getting different roles and having an absolute blast. And I'd say each role is unique as they are, and I really find something different in each one where I want to try to really push myself to embody a different character, a different persona. And I mean, I want to keep going in that way. I want to really push myself to develop as an actor. I'd love to do it more and more.
And how do you balance that with your job, basically?
It's very difficult because I really travel a lot and all over the world. So it's not easy. So what I do is I'm limiting it to really short films. They're never paid. I don't need to pay, which is good. I'm happy that I don't depend on it because I can take it or not. But it also means usually the projects that I'm on, I feel like are very. It's a lot of usually it's students or it's independent filmmakers who are doing this and they don't pay us. I don't know if they pay the crew or not. I don't know, but I don't think anybody's there for the paycheck. They're there for the art. They're there for the passion of the process. And I feel like that's an awesome community to be part of. And they're hardworking people. I mean, they work so hard for nothing except for passion and fun. And I love that. I thought about, maybe I should try like commercials and stuff, but just so uninspired by the idea of selling toothpaste or something. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't need the income. I wouldn't do it for that. So I'm lucky to not have to rely on those kinds of gigs. And so, I just really want to be participating in, and I really love these short film world. So, as far as I'm concerned, I keep doing that and keep growing and learning. And if I get to a point where I have the opportunity to do something bigger, to figure out if I take a sabbatical to do that, or if I can mix it into to my travel agenda, I'll have to just play it by ear as I go.
Yeah.
But I usually don't worry about problems I don't have. I worry with problems that I have. So at the moment, it's not anything I need to worry about. So I just enjoy what I can get now. And I've met some really cool people, some really creative people who have stories that they want to tell, and I can help tell them. And it's always a privilege and an honor to be part of it. So I just hope I don't screw it up. First, second, I hope I can bring something to it, collaborate with the process, and bring it into something that everybody's ultimately happy with. So yeah.
That's like really cool what you said about like everyone does it for the art, for the passion, because it's like how can I say this? I think often, and maybe I've noticed that in myself, but often one does think that, like, for example, in my case, that only I have this passion for this certain thing, and that it's difficult to even portray how like powerful this passion is. Mm-hmm. Have you ever noticed that about yourself, like that you had maybe acting, or maybe it was something else before your acting life, but where you felt like you had this passion, like?
Well, software for baby diapers, that's pretty specific.
What's software?
Yeah, that's kind of my job. I discovered in 2006 that there's no software for designing baby diapers.
Software.
Yeah. So, when they design like cars and jets, there's like a 3D model of the car or jet. Yeah. It's like an engineering model of that thing. I wanted the diaper information, and I went to the R&D department to get the diaper information. And I said, hey, I need the information about the diaper. Where can I get it? And they gave me like 22 files, Excel files, PowerPoint files. I'm like, what the heck? This is like, where's the 3D car? Where's the 3D diaper thing that I can, like, we don't have that. Like, why not? So, and I started like, why don't you just use this software that we use for designing our equipment? It's the same software they use for jets and cars. I'm like, if they can do a freaking jet, they can certainly do a diaper. No, you can't. Mm-hmm. And I tried, and I realized why it doesn't work. And it just wasn't designed for that problem. And then I thought, okay, well then maybe there's software out there that does it and we just don't know about it. So I spent a year with the consulting agency hunting for that software and found out, unbelievably, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, that's nuts. I mean, that's a huge opportunity because in every industry where they use software for designing their products before they make physical products, you can't compete in those industries without it. So I went to my leadership, said, like, guys, this is a huge opportunity. We could be the first in our industry to do digital prototyping before physical prototyping. That could revolutionize our industry. This is a game changer. Like, we should do it. They said, we agree. What do you need to start? I said, well, so again, imposter thing, because I'm like, I'm going to start inventing the world's first software for designing diapers. I'm not a diaper designer. I'm an electrical engineer, you know, and I have been doing a lot of programming and IT development kind of work at that point. So it wasn't completely out of my element, but it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So I started learning about, and yeah, so they funded me. I hired a team and started building the software. So so that's a passion and I know nobody else in the world does it and nobody else in the world has it. And we're, we're in the middle of, and this is why I travel so much, because creating the software is actually the easy part, even though it's also very difficult. The harder part is changing the work process to use it, to say, hey, instead of making your physical diaper, which is really easy, relatively easy, and you have a diaper you can hand to the mom and she can like and feel it and smell it, and with a digital prototype you can't do that. So it becomes very difficult to change the work processes in all of the different R&D technical centers and planning service centers and production sites that we have. So that's the passion that I have at my work. I absolutely love my job. I've got to make my own job and carve my own way in the company and lead something really new to the world. It's darn difficult and stressful, but I love it. So yeah, that's my other big passion. So I always generally give people the benefit of the doubt. If they treat me like shit, then I assume they're dealing with shit in their life.
I get it, but like the fine line between when someone is like really offending you, you still have to like kind of want to defend yourself, right?
Yeah, to me, it's kind of like a 3-strike policy. And a lot of times people will pick up on that. They'll interrupt you, change a topic or something, and then you'll just kind of go quiet. And sometimes they'll realize, oh, I'm sorry. What were you saying?